I decided to do this video because sometimes I get people asking what they should get for their first sword, which is a legitimate question, and actually I feel very humbled that people ask me for advice on that. So, caveat, these are just Japanese swords. We don't have any European. I'm hoping to get one this year, so because I do want to get some. The only reason why we don't have European swords is because, well, they're really expensive. That's the bottom line. They can be very expensive, but the one I've been looking at is not that expensive. So, also, all these swords, are they perfect? No. They have little flaws here and there. So, but they're fully functional. You can cut with them. And it's not going to break your bank, because the way I see it is, if this is going to be your very first sword you've ever had, and you've never held one ever, you really don't know if you're going to like it or not. I mean, and that goes even if it was a European sword. So, do you want to dump like $300, $400, $500 in a sword, and then it turns out that you don't like it, and now you have a hard time getting rid of it because not a lot of people have that money to plunk out. So, the majority of these are under $200, but like I said, they're fully functional, they work, and the ones that I have, I've never had no major issues for or with. So, first one is this one right here. This is from Bayou. I've had this, God, almost now 3 years. It is a T10 blade, differentially hardened, of course. It's really good. A little bit on the heavy side, front heavy. It's got real leather on the handle, real Samigawa, and it retains an edge really, really well. So this is not a bad one, but if you're not used to swords, like I said, it does have front heaviness to it, which can assist in your cutting. So if you're looking for a lighter sword, of course, this may not be for you. But it is a really, really durable sword. And nothing's ever come loose on this. Everything stayed super tight. The diamonds aren't even, they're kind of wonky. But, I mean, like I said, they're not perfect. But, I mean, if that's like the biggest issue is the diamonds not being perfect, you can't beat it. I mean, this runs on Amazon, and all these that you get on Amazon for $129. So that's not bad at all, and it is a sturdy sword. Finally had to shim the side on this. Like I said, I've had for about 3 years, so they do wear out. Another nice feature with this, because I wrote the dates down. If you order it, and that's of today. If you order it today, you get it between February 28th and March 12th. So that's not too bad. So a couple weeks to wait on this. But like I said, it's $129. It's a good sword. Holds up really, really well. Next sword. This is from Drem swords. A lot of people haven't heard of them. I don't know how long they've been around. Their quality isn't bad at all. Their Edo wrap, it's fairly tight. It does not have real Samigawa though in it. It does have that rubber type Samigawa in it. The fittings are nice. Nothing's come loose on this. The saya's done well. The nice feature about this, and also, before I go to that, they did wrap around the koshra. So, That's another plus. I always find if they wrap around the Kostra like they do on this, this never comes loose. Okay, it kind of helps tension it on there. But another nice feature for somebody who's never owned a sword before. Now, this is a through-hardened blade, but this is 9260 spring steel. Okay, it's got a bohea in it. Weight's not bad at all. The nice thing about 9260 spring steel is if you do a bad cut, it's not going to take a set, which means it's not going to take a bend. So that is a really big plus for someone who's never ever used a sword, because you're bound to do bad cuts. You're bound to hit your stand. So 9260 is a really good starting option. And this actually is a really nice sword. Does 9260 retain an edge for very long? Depends on how much you're going to cut. So you may have to sharpen this more than a T10. Alright. Again, nothing's ever come loose. Now, the wood on the side is not the highest quality, it doesn't look like. But it's not like the poorest. I have an Iaito, and the Saya is very poor quality wood. So, not bad at all. And it is a nice looking sword. I mean, the fittings are nice, everything. It's got copper habakis, or seppas, which is a nice touch to it. Now, the price range for this, believe it or not, is $109. And again, as of today, Amazon can get it to you by, I have notes in front of me, February 9th. So that's pretty quick. So by the end of this week, you could have this one in your hand. Now granted, I'm not affiliated with these companies. I'm just giving you how long it would take to get. Because most people, when they order their first sword, they're excited. They can't wait to get it. That's why I'm putting the dates, how long it would take. But this is a good starter sword. Excellent starter sword. And it's $109 on Amazon. Okay? So if you don't like it, and you don't like swords, you're not in it for a lot of money, and you could probably turn around and sell it to a friend pretty easily. Maybe have to knock a few bucks off, and you're still not out a ton of money. So this is another good option right here. Cuts great. When I first got this thing was like a laser beam, the edge on it. So really good starter sword right here. So there's another one. Most recent one, this is from Hero Swords. Now this does have real Samigawa. The caveat with Hero Swords, the Samigawa can be hit and miss. I have two other swords from them, a Wagasashi and the Nagamaki. Now those both don't have real Samigawa. Is that a deal breaker for you or not? You have to make that decision. Is this sword perfect? No. Not at all. I think on the handle in my review, it has a nice taper, but I think they tapered it too much, because if you notice, there's a lip right here for the Kostra. Now, the one thing I did notice with Hero Swords is they do glue their Kostras on, because I've never had one come loose. So that's a plus. Overall, the sword is very pleasing aesthetically. It's a nature theme. This sword is really nimble in the hands. It's got, most swords that I have a little front heaviness, but this one is very nimble in the hands. The only thing I don't like about the handle is not so much that the Kostra doesn't fit right, it's just it could be a little bit longer. This is a 10.5 inch ska, where my preferred is 11. My sweet spot, 11.5. So 11.5 inch long handle. But it's not a deal breaker for me. I could still use 10.5. It is, like I said, T10 blade. It is nicely done. Nothing's come loose. The other 3 hero swords I have, nothing has ever come loose on them. Everything has stayed tight. So can't beat that at all. Not one bit. And the price range for this is $159. And then on Amazon they say between February 15th to the 21st. So a couple week wait. But it's a nice looking sword. It cuts good, came sharp, and it's nimble in the hand. So this is another good little starter. And like I said, if you look at my review of it, it has a nice theme of nature. It's a vine theme on it, all over it. So here's another good one that won't break the bank. My next one is from Lee Swords. Now, unfortunately, they do not have this in stock anymore. I've owned this for about 2 years. Nothing's come loose, not even the Kasha. Kasha stayed tight. The only thing I noticed when I first got it is the Habaki does move up and down just a tad, but there again, is a budget sword. Other than that, everything has stayed tight. Everything I've thrown at this sword has held up really, really nice. It just goes right through it. It is a T10 blade. They have been out of this sword, I would say, for almost 2 years now. It is a little bit on the heavy side. This again is another kind of like heavy sword. It's not unruly though. You can manipulate it fairly well. But it does have some front heaviness to it. Now, the other thing though with this, since they haven't had it for about 2 years, the funny thing is Loose Swords, okay, has his exact same sword. Same fittings, everything. So I don't know if Lee Sword's affiliated with them or not. Don't know. I know some sword companies will buy from other companies. So I don't know. At the time when I got this, it was $168, but they had a coupon which knocked it down to $135. And then with tax and everything, it came out to be like $142. So, unfortunately, this one is not on Lee Swords anymore. But Loose Swords has it, and they have it for $168. Because the price on this, after I bought it on Lee Swords, went up to $188. And now it's been out ever since. So Loose Swords is just exactly like I said, the exact same sword, except this is a T10. Theirs is a 1095. That's not much of a deal breaker because they're pretty much the same construction material wise. So Loose Swords, they say on Amazon February 8th they'll get this to you. So within the week. Like I said, it's a good sword. It's a good beater sword. Doesn't cost, another one doesn't cost a ton of money. Still under $200. And yeah, like I said, everything, even the Edo wrap, it's tight still. And I use this one a lot. So, for a light, nimble sword, this is an Unakubi. It is a through hardened 1095. Okay, so it's not differentially hardened. You'll notice some scratches on it because I use the hell out of this thing. This one is from Hanban. Okay, so if you order from Hanban, it'll be about 2 weeks. Okay, just because it's come from China, Longquin. I have no complaints about this thing. In fact, we bought this exact same one for my brother because he liked it so much. I got him one. He likes the weight of it. It's not heavy at all. And that's another thing for people who are just getting into it. That's another factor. It's hard to tell if a sword is going to be heavy or not. Unukubis are normally light and nimble because of this backside that they thin out. Okay. So this is another option for a beginner. And like I said, I've used this thing a lot. There's so many scratches on this blade. And this runs 166 on their website. So this is a really, really good starter. Holds an edge really well. I think it was like a whole year before I had to resharpen this thing. And about a year and a half maybe, I'm kind of guessing, that I had to shim the saya. So really good. And again, they wrapped around the Kashra. Kasha's never come loose. Hanban does some really nice stuff. So this is another good starter one right here. Light blade, holds an edge good. You're not going to have any problems with it. Now, this one's a little different. Right off the get-go, the only problem I had with this is the Kashra was coming loose. But I've had this thing for over 2 years, so I put a little bit of glue on either side. This is my Sawadi. Somehow my paint job on my saya got scratched, so I'll have to fix that. I like how some of the swords, they put this rounded butt cap on here. So if you're slipping in an obi belt, it slides right in really easily. I like the fancy Samigao wrap, or Seigyo wrap they do on the saya. And then the very fancy Ito wrap. Never had an issue with the Ito wrap on this, ever. All the fittings are copper. So the Suba, Fuchi, and the Kashra. This I call my beast of a cutter. This cuts really, really nice. This is another sword I use the heck out of. Caveat though with Sawadi. One, they come razor sharp. They come really, really sharp. The second thing is they are heavy. They are a heavy blade. I'm going to tell you that right now. The blades on these are pretty damn thick. Okay. So they're a much heavier blade. So I don't know, for a first timer you want something this heavy. It's not 3 pounds. But it's something like 2.8 ounces. So it's close. But it's maneuverable in the hands. You can do stuff with it. You can do trick cuts. But if you're not used to a heavy sword, I wouldn't try trick cuts with it just yet. But these things are comfortable in the hands because of the Ito wrap. They do a really good job on this. And the shape of the Suka feels really good in the hands too. I've never had to shim this. Had this for a little over 2 years. This one, Amazon says they could get it to you by February 12th. Now, they have another one on their site It looks, in fact, it's a spitting image, exact same sword. Same fitting, same color, same everything, same Edo wrap, except, and it's a T10 blade, except this one doesn't have a bohie. This one, it's just straight shinogi, no bohie. The other one has a bohie, so that one's probably a little lighter. This one runs 169. The one with the bohie runs 158. So there's a difference. Okay, so the one with the bohie is cheaper, the one without is a little bit more. But the one with the bohie, they say they can get it, what is it, between March 21st and April 11th. So that one you would have to wait about a month to get. So those are just some swords for people who just want to get started on getting into swords, and especially if you want to get into Japanese. Like I said, I wish I had some European, but they're really, really expensive. And to find good quality European swords that aren't junk, sometimes it's a chore to do without plunking out a lot of money at first. Especially if it's like your very first sword. It'll be really disappointing if you got one you spent a lot of money on and it turns out to be just crap. So, one more little tidbit. Let me get it. Be right back. So on Sawadi's site, if you guys haven't seen the review of this, go check it out. This looks like the one I just showed. Okay, except this is the hollow dragonfly. That one's just the dragonfly. Now this one I've never cut with, because this one belongs to my wife. Same looking sword, everything. Just so I can show you the quality. It's the same. Same weight, same everything. Now unfortunately, actually this one feels a little bit heavier. They do not make this one no more. They've discontinued the hollow dragonfly in this style. They have other ones with the same Suba, but this particular one they no longer have. So if anyone who sees my review on this and they wanted to get it, it no longer is being produced. And this one ran 175. In this, all those prices are before basically tax and shipping. So unfortunately, like I said, this one's been discontinued, which kind of sucks. My wife likes the blue color, and I think they did a really good job of it. And like I said before, Sawadi is the only company I see that just for off the shelf does this type of Edo wrap. So those are my recommendations for anyone who wants to get started but is afraid of spending a ton of money right away, which I don't blame you. Swords can get expensive, for sure. And you don't, when you're not able to physically hold it in your hands, that's a commitment to spend the money on something. So hopefully this helps a few of you out there who are looking to get their very first sword and not break the bank. And I will put links to all these swords in the description, so that way you can just go right to them. And if you go up to the top, of the page where it says, like it will say Sawadi store. If you click on that, it will take you directly to their Amazon page. Another thing for the Hero Sword, if you go to Hero Sword's site on Amazon, because they don't have a web page, they're just on Amazon. If you're into anime, like Demon Slayer, all that, they have a buttload of those on there, all fully functional. So if you're into that type of thing, they've got them. Like I said, are they perfect? No. And their price ranges do vary on Hero Swords. So they can get up, I saw one today, it's like $500. Same with Lee Swords, they can get up, they have one that's almost $900. But it's like an L6 with very high quality fittings on it. And it's a Shobu, which I love a good Shobu. It's a curry blade. So I didn't show my Shobus because Shobus are normally heavy swords. I would try, it's hard like I said because you're ordering these offline, to avoid too heavy of a sword at first, because if you're not used to cutting with it, it's going to be hard to control it at first. Try and go more on the lighter side, like Unakubi you can't go wrong with. They're always a light sword, so you can't go wrong with those. So that's the end of it, and we will see you all later. Take it easy.